belongs to keep the ant population in check. Home sweet home. Please say no to illegal bushmeat and report wildlife crime, because poaching steals from us all.
Imagine bonding gane kukorojo. Ewuri kobu nje bacteria batara. Ipula kukorojo nje bacteria. Uta nini yotorugio. Jiri close up wure antibacterial zinc. Nusu yo. Close up nenyaka iwopu ukorojo nke bacteria na bata.
State governors today say they will not be able to pay 60,000 naira. They say it's not sustainable and not in the best interest of the generality of the nation, as some states do not have capacity to pay. And negotiation continues as clock ticks, with a 1 week ultimatum to conclude negotiation hangs in the balance. We now know tonight that the different committees have continued their meetings as they concluded right now, and they are going to plenary to come out with a definitive figure. They promised yesterday that today they will come out with a definitive figure. We'll be expecting right here and giving you an update. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you wherever you may be watching. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. We go straight and giving you some updates, some pictures coming in fresh from the meetings with the negotiation on the national minimum wage. It gets our attention. It's your biggest story in the land, especially some of the communications and reactions coming from the state governors. They say they cannot, all of them in the state, cannot pay the 60,000. According to them, it is not sustainable. And some states will have to borrow to pay salaries. In fact, some states, if they are paying 60,000, has been agreed upon or been proposed that they may not be able to continue to do any project or developmental activity in their state. We'll be giving you up-to-date information as far as that negotiation is concerned. It's still ongoing. We understand that committee meetings have now ended and they have gone into a plenary. We'll be giving you some sound bites later on the program, because so many issues bordering on the state of the nation gets our attention. And a former presidential advisor joins me on the program to give an insight. But first and foremost, everyone, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has commissioned his official residence built by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. The Vice President represented President Bola Tinubu at the ceremony in Abuja. The Vice President says the completion of the project is a reflection of the commitment of President Tinubu's administration to providing an enabling environment for leadership to thrive.
It is a reflection of our commitment to providing our leaders with the tools and resources they need to effectively discharge their duties and serve the Nigerian people with integrity and dedication. As we celebrate this achievement today, let us also reflect on the broader significance of our efforts.
Meanwhile, the Kebbi State Deputy Governor, Senator Umar Abubakar Tafida, says the call by the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, for the state governor to transfer powers to him is unwarranted. He was speaking today at a news conference in Birnin Kebbi, where he stated that there was never a time government in the state operated in vacuum, as the governor is out of the country for official engagement.
There is a very good understanding and solid working relationship between His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kebbi State, and my humble self.
The Labour Party in Edo State has spoken out against the removal of its campaign billboards from some locations within the Benin metropolis by persons believed to be agents of the government and the People's Democratic Party without notice or clear reasons. At a news conference in Benin City, the party's governorship campaign committee, alongside the governorship candidate Olumide Akpata, says the focus should be on the plans for the development of the state instead of the destruction of opponents' campaign billboards. The last may not have been heard of the former resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State, Malam Hudu Yunusa, who was suspended by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for electoral misconduct in 2023. 1 year after the drama that played out during the Adamawa State governorship election, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) is asking the Inspector General of Police to smoke out the suspended resident electoral commissioner out of his hiding for prosecution. The PDP at a news conference in Abuja displayed a warrant of arrest from the High Court of Justice in Adamawa State, asking the Inspector General of Police to comply by arresting Malam Hudu to answer to charges.
I have a copy of that order here of the High Court of Justice of Adamawa State, Court number 9. The PDP therefore charges the Inspector General of Police to, in compliance with the order of court, immediately fish out, arrest and bring Malam Hudu Yunusa Ari before the court for prosecution.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Tonight, our major story is the national minimum wage. Don't forget that it's a crucial time because the organized labor are giving the federal government a 1 week ultimatum. Don't forget what happened. On Tuesday, there was a suspension of the nationwide industrial action, which literally shut down the activities across the country. But the tripartite committee meeting for the new national minimum wage continue here in the nation's capital, Abuja. We understand that at this moment, the different committees have concluded their meetings, and those deliberations now await ratification of the General Committee at plenary. A meeting which is the 5th since the suspension of the industrial action by organized labor is holding behind closed doors at the Nikon Luxury Hotel in Abuja. Some prominent members of the committee are in attendance, including the Director General of the Nigeria Governors Forum, the Governor of the Minister of Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Oyejocha, the Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, a representative of the Salaries and Income and Wages Commission, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, as well as the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu. When the meeting was held on Thursday, that is yesterday, members of the committee gave assurances that a figure may be announced today. But let me allow you to listen to the respondent, I think it was the Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who spoke after the committee meeting ended, and we understand that they will now proceed to the plenary. This just a few minutes before we came on air. Take a listen to the Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma.
We had a very fruitful deliberation, and of course, you know, it's a technical subcommittee of a committee, and at the level of our committee, we almost we have reached near consensus, and it is our hope that by the time we get to the plenary, we'll have a complete agreement. And maybe from there, the media can start their job. But as it is now, I think we are better off now before the technical committee.
So the meeting is not ended yet?
The technical committee is over.
Okay.
And of course, you know, it's a tripartite committee. We struggle to do an agreement, at least between the government and the organized private sector. We are still engaging the organized level. And I'm almost confident that in a few minutes from now, after the plenary, we would have reached a concrete agreement.
Everyone, there is a twist to this matter, and it's coming from the governors. Now, the 36 state governors as a whole and as a committee under the NGF, the Nigeria Governors Forum, said that the 60,000 minimum wage proposal by the federal government is not sustainable and cannot fly. A statement by the acting director of media affairs and public relations of the NGF, Mrs. Alima Ahmed, says that if allowed to fly, many states will use all their monthly allocations from the Federation account to pay workers' salaries. The governors appealed to members of the tripartite committee to agree on a minimum wage that would be fair and sustainable. The organized labor had rejected the 60,000 proposal and went on a national strike on Monday. The action was, however, suspended on Tuesday after the federal government promised to increase the minimum wage to an amount bigger than 60,000 as a resumed negotiations. Of course, you can see text of the statement coming from the Nigerian Governors Forum, which says all things concluded. The 60,000 minimum wage is not sustainable and cannot fly. It means that many states will not spend all their federal allocations on just paying salaries with nothing left for development purposes. In fact, a few states will will end up borrowing to pay workers every month. We do not think this will be in the collective interest of the country, including workers. So what then will be the figure that will be sustainable? That will be in the interest of the Nigerian people and including the workers, of course, like the statement from the NGF has stated. What will be the figure that they will agree upon? Don't forget that in all of this equation, let me break it down for you. The parties involved in this negotiation is not only the workers and the federal government, it also involves organized private sector, which involves entrepreneurs and employers of labor. Also, the federal government is involved. You see the ministers that are involved in these negotiations, the Minister of Budget, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Labor, who is a conciliator in all of this. And also, we find other relevant ministries and agencies of government that are involved. Then you look at the other side of the government side is the state government, which includes the state governors, and also local governments, which are also involved because they also have workers that they will pay wages. Who are the others that are involved? The organized labor, the NLCs and the affiliate organization, the TUC and the affiliate organization. All of these people are the different parties. At the end of the day, every of them may have their own figure. They could put it to vote, and whichever wins the vote eventually becomes the figure that will come out. We've seen this happen in the past where sometimes Labour may not have the upper hand, but at most, in the end, the figure that gets the biggest vote or the highest vote the sway, and at the end of the day, we'll get a national minimum wage, which according to law is reviewable after 5 years. Where do we go from here? Let's get some insight into all of this. Tonight, I'm being joined by a former presidential advisor, Dr. Doyin Okupa. He joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. It's been a long time, Dr. Okupa, and it's good to see you.
Happy to see you too.
There was a medical scare, but thank God you are alive today.
Well, you know, you remember, as you are one of the very few people in the media who actually asked after me, and you called me. Mm-hmm. You will recall that conversation. Yeah. I could not even talk to you. I could not talk to you properly. Mm. But I did promise you that I was going to get well, and that as soon as I do get well, I'll come and see you. And here, I bear testimony. I bear, well, not even the promise. I've come here to bear testimony to the fact that the Almighty God, through His Son Jesus Christ, have made me whole, have healed me, and I'm so grateful to God. So grateful. I'm glad.
It was a narrow path you tread, isn't it? It was a scare.
But you know,
a very big one, isn't it?
You
lost a lot of weight too.
Yeah, Sheon, the assurance that we have is that, when we call upon Him, He will answer us. And that whatever it is, even when we go through the fire or we go through storm or whatever, He's with us. And you remember what the Bible says, even though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
Did you actually walk through the shadow of death? Literally.
I did. There were stages during this period that I was totally prostrate. I could not do nothing. Me, as I'm talking to you, I could only shift in bed. That's all. To get out of bed, my wife had to take me out of bed, even to get to the toilet, and then I have to be taken up again and put back to bed. It was that bad. And one or two occasions, I actually collapsed. I had bone marrow failure. I had one side of my lungs, totally collapsed and due to pneumonia. There was a time I was isolated. I had very low immunity. It was a bad situation. But Almighty God.
Life is golden, and every breath that we breathe, and every day that we live, it's an opportunity for us to see that God is God. And He keeps us together.
Is great.
This is a very active Joey Okupa, the very notorious one that we do know. But if there is one thing that life has taught you in these past days, what would that be?
That, Jehovah God is the God of all flesh, and that there is absolutely nothing that He cannot do.
In terms of lifestyle, you have crossed to 70 now.
In terms of lifestyle, I'm a different person altogether.
What lesson?
I don't get hungry.
What can you tell anyone who can learn from your medical experience? And how to live a healthy living? How to have a healthy living?
What we indulge in before, excessive eating, enjoyment, all sort of things, they just kill you. That's it. I was obese, I was fat, and obesity is one of the greatest enemies of, a man's livelihood or, longevity. When you are fat and obese, you are in trouble. You are in, the chances of developing cancers and all sort of diseases like diabetes, hypertension is almost 70–80%. So, everybody has, from my own experience, I want to plead with Nigerians, watch what you eat. Many of us, including me in the past, we dug our graves with our teeth. We just, ate and ate.
Eat healthy.
Eat healthy.
It's very critical.
That's a big lesson. Go check the Holy Scriptures. Genesis 1:29. God there prescribes exactly what manner of food a man shall eat. The more we concentrate and we live on plant diet, the best for us. I'm not saying don't eat chicken, don't eat beef, but let 60–70% of your food be plant diet.
Yeah. That's not politics, but it's a very good. This program is also for learning, for information and education. But I thank God for you that we're seeing. And congratulations, you've crossed to 70. You, in some way, you're an elder statesman now.
In some way, I am an elder statesman.
Dr. Joey Okupa, it's good to see you. Let me drag you to talk politics and policy and governance, isn't it?
No problem.
What do you make of what is going on in terms of the negotiation? I'm very sure there was a time that you were trying to persuade Nigerians on behalf of the government.
You will recall Adams of Shomoli's time.
It shook your government.
It was a difficult time also. And we were very early in government. But, my position is this. I want Labour. Labour, they've done so well, so far, for now. But I want Labour to shed this colonial mentality with which Labour grew up and became a force. It is not Labour versus a foreign government. It's Labour, a Nigerian Labour organization, versus a Nigerian government. And there's nothing that cannot be negotiated. It may be difficult. And I have said it before, I'm saying it again. Strikes and strike actions massive strike action should be the last, very, very, very last weapon. Now we're back to the drawing board. We're back to negotiation. So we don't need to threaten each other.
But there are those who will say if Labour had not gone on that Monday, Tuesday strike, that we wouldn't be here today.
That should also not happen. On the side of government, I used to be part of government, and Labour may be right. If you're in government or whatever the government of the day should not wait until there is a major cataclysm or a threat to national survivor, to our national survivor before you listen to Labour. Or anybody, not just Labour, anybody that is protesting, government should listen and should develop a listening ear and dialogue. That is the instruments that civilized societies employ. We must continually dialogue, to have conversations, negotiation. We don't have to agree at the first time. We don't have to agree. But we can break up to disagree and agree.
For someone who had worked closely with former President Obasanjo, you are lucky also to have worked with former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes.
Now, what we're seeing now looks mild compared to what we saw in those other governments. But what would be a big lesson that you think that anyone who is in government today should learn from relationship with Labour and in this kind of negotiation?
Government must at all times. And, I'm happy, well, even, the Buhari administration, as bad as it was, they had somebody who had sense, to handle. Labour is just as important as petroleum ministry or health or education. So, we've got to have people who have experience, who have knowledge, who are educated, who have patience, and have conscience and patriotism to handle Labour matters. Labour matters has to do with the working class, and the working class are the group of people who lay the golden eggs. Their affairs should not be just treated with lackadaisically. Anything that has got to do with labor, anything that's got to do with disagreements with wages and all that, and welfare of workers should get government's top attention.
Yeah. So I'm going to play a footage for you to listen to, and this one coming from the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. It got a lot of people talking actually about the capacity of government to pay. I'm going to come back to the NGFs and their position. Whether that those who disagree, that let state government not come with that argument of them not having capacity to pay, because they are supposed to have looked inwards and find monies other than FAC application, rather than relying on FAC, because they are saying a lot of the state government cannot just pay. But let me allow you to listen to everyone, remind you of what the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said. He said, even him, he has about 4 drivers. He cannot pay 100,000 naira. But let's listen to his explanation.
100,000. I can't afford to pay my driver 100,000 because they are 4. Then how much do I have? And these other people, dependents. And so we came to speak to you, to explain our position, to let you know precisely. Labour started with 600. That moves the wage bill to, that's the federal loan, to 9.9 trillion. Where will we get that money from? Labour said 400, which moves it to 5.something trillion. What will we get? We are saying no. Please, this is what can afford. And there are housing schemes. By the time, in fact, a lot of the Federal Housing Authority are going around the state collecting land. And they have access to facility that will create housing for a huge number of the Nigerian people.
That's on one part what he said about the affordability on the side of the federal government. There's this part that is also very interesting, which is one of the things that he said. In fact, he feels that it is a treasonable offense for you to shut down the national grid. And he's picking an offense and picking all in the decision of the organized labor to shut down the national grid for those 2 days. It's been shut down since 2 a.m. of Monday up until about evening of Tuesday. That hurt really badly, and the federal government felt the pinch, and they were very unhappy. Take a listen to the SGF on that.
Everything this government is doing is people-centered. President feels it. Our people must rise up. They must have something in their pocket. It's not just a question of you say that you want 100,000, if you want 100,000 and there's no productivity. And all we're looking at what? Productivity, power sector, this is what we're doing, and so on and so forth. Look, when you go on strike, you give 15 days notice. They didn't. But nowhere in the world has labor tampered with the national grid. You don't, it's treason. Treasonable felony is economic sabotage. You don't do that. And normally, when you go on strike, just say yes. Don't go and beat people in the office. People who are in the office are beating them, they must go away. It is never done. I had a civil service background. I joined the service after I left the university, rose to become permanent secretary before I ventured into politics.
Dr. Okupa, let me allow you to respond to what the SGF said. Do you agree that Labour, or you think that Labour went too far?
Certainly. You know, there's a problem. In Nigeria today, from my own experience, what I'm seeing, we seem to be losing it. People are losing the sense of right or wrong. You know, what he said is absolutely correct.
You agree with the SGF?
You can't go and switch off the national grid of a nation. That's, you know, that is highly, you know, that it's unacceptable. But, you know, I do not blame Labour. You know, the situation should never have arisen. We have a whole government in place. Where is the security? Where is the security? Where is intelligence? You know, people are also taking politics too far. You want to grind, you know, you have a point to make, but you don't have to grind the government to a halt. That's what I'm telling you. It is us versus them. You know, let's not lose focus at any given time. You know, Labour went off course by going to shut off the national grid. That is evil. It's sinful. It is unacceptable, and it's criminal. You know, but I'm happy. You know, I'm happy that we have at this present time a man like Bola Tinubu at the saddle of affairs, and I'm sure he believes that being a Democrat, you should not be high-handed. It's fine. That's okay, fine. But you know, government at a point in time, sometimes, always have to draw the line. You have to draw the line. Otherwise, you know, the Yoruba people say that if it was not that the snake had a poison, you know, within its teeth, people will go to the farm and use it to tie firewood and bring home. So, you know, it is good to be a Democrat. I appreciate that, and it is very nice. And because government did not do a repressor, that's why we're having all these discussions still going on now.
In the military era, that did work like magic. If you can remember vividly, if not because of the power grid, the military wouldn't have bowed to the pressure from Labour. During the Obasanjo era, there are one or two times that they've shown, because Obasanjo showed to be a tough, being a former military head of state, he showed the tough side of him, having to, on one side, being a civilian president, on the other side, sometimes he showed the card of the military, and he showed sometimes how tough he could be. But in the other sides of people will say, the suffering in the land is so much. What else does the Labour have as a card on the table to make this government also listen to them? If what some of them say that the government is not listening to them.
The government should and must listen to any aggrieved sector of the economy. You must. We don't have to carry machete, guns, or petrol bomb before governments will listen to us. It's our government. It's our nation. And we have no other place to go. Government must develop the culture of listening. And, those who want to negotiate or discuss with government must also have the culture of patience, patriotism, and, genuine attitude to difficult situations.
You have only been on the outside of government during Buhari era. So you've seen on the inside during Obasanjo, you've seen on the inside during Jonathan.
Yeah.
You didn't see much of the inside in Yaradua. You didn't play much role there. For what you have seen across almost 25 years now, would you say the Bola Tinubu government has listened enough compared to other presidents?
Let me tell you for a fact.
He's only spent 1 year anyways, but...
Well, I've always said that you can never and should never, ever judge this administration like you judge other administrations. Because this is an abnormal situation in which this administration came to life. After such a prostate economy for 8 years, the government and governance was totally abandoned. Anything went at that time. So, things became so bad. There was a period of time that we were actually spending 90 cents out of every dollar we earned, to pay debts. So, and that was the point at which this administration came in. People are forgetting. Are
you giving this government a chance?
I'm not giving them a chance. I'm giving them more than a chance.
But you did not agree. You did not think that Bola Tinubu can do it.
No, that's not true.
You pitch your camp.
No, that's not true.
You pitch your tent with Peter Obi.
Sheon, that's not true. I was in PDP, right? And I also wanted to run for president. On the 20th, I will remember my tweet. On the 21st of March in 2022, I was an aspirant for presidential election under PDP. I said that if Bola Tinubu wins the primary for APC, I said categorically that he would do well. I knew he would do well. He has come into government at a very difficult time. I don't know why he decided to come at this time. This is a very bad time for anybody to come and administer this administration.
But you campaigned for Peter Obi.
I did. Because
you think that Peter Obi wouldn't have done better or Atiku Abubakar would have done better?
Let me tell you, of all the people that actually ran for president in 2023, by benefit of hindsight, Bola Tinubu is the best.
Even the Peter Obi you worked for?
I'm telling you that from the benefit of the hindsight, I've seen Peter Obi, I've been with Atiku Abubakar. I also knew, many people are not aware, I knew Bola Tinubu so many years ago. We have interacted. I've not seen him in the last 7-8 years or whatever. That's not the point. But in terms of capacity, capability, and, commitment and knowledge, people keep underestimating what he did in Lagos. What he did in Lagos was a wonderful job. I went and I met and I sat with him, for 3 hours. And he took me through what they were doing and what they will do. And I was, even though I was in NRC or so at that time, I was impressed. I was heavily impressed. So, I think that if this country will give this gentleman some time, like I heard Body George talk this morning, and that's the truth. You cannot judge this administration only, just after 1 year in office. And even it's not even 1 year in office. His government his government did not come on fully till August.
Your statement about comparing Jesus Christ and all what have you have been heavily criticized. You think that you were that was a slip?
No, there was no slip. Sheon, in literary language, there's something they call context. The context of the matter.
So you're doubling down on that statement?
No, what I said, let me repeat what I said. I said, look, now I'm an evangelist, and I am. I think and dream and talk about Christ, Jesus. In everything that I see Christ in everything. So I then said, I told the young lady, I said, this is like, in heaven, in heaven, at the time of, at sometime, that God, the Almighty said, who will go for us? All right? And Christ Jesus volunteered that. He said, send me, here I am. Do you understand? So I said, and he came and died for the sins of the world. So I said, anybody who came after Buhari to run this country,
is sacrificing himself. He's putting his neck on the guillotine. Anybody who sacrifices or is prepared to sacrifice his life for others has a Christ-like attitude. I'm repeating it.
Even compared to Peter the Rock, since you are making reference to the Bible,
yes,
you do not even think that Peter, your very good friend, is not comparable to Bola Tinubu?
No, we have not seen Peter in action.
So you don't think he doesn't have the kind of capacity?
I am not saying that. I'm not saying that.
So you're saying this in truth, not because of one political bias that you have?
Look, I'm 72, for goodness sake, Sheon. If at this my point, when I was 28 or 30, and I was contesting and campaigning for election in Lagos, I, a small rat, I faced Jakonde. I faced late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. May God bless them. So why should I, 40 years later, not be able to say things as I see it? I've had a lot of crap. People say that, oh, I'm a betrayer. I'm not. Look,
it sounds like betrayal, though.
It's not betrayal.
For someone like, you were the campaign DG for Peter.
Wait, can you just wait, Sheon? Peter and I had an understanding. We wanted a southern president. And and when I spoke to Baba Adebanjo told me that, look, if you really want a southern president, who do you think, which region do you think should have it? And I said, in all truth, and as a Christian, sir, it should be the southeast. He said, that is correct. That is his position. He said, my son, come, let us support southeast. I said, I agree. So when I look at the candidates in PDP, I was a member of PDP. When I look at the candidates in the PDP and those who were vying for president, the only person I saw that was strong, cerebral, and I felt was capable was Peter Obi. Peter Obi never came to me. I went to him to say I was going to back you. And we went all over the country and I campaigned for him. And we didn't win. So as far as I'm concerned, that's over.
But with the benefit
politics is not about hatred.
But with the benefit of
there are no permanent enemies in politics or permanent friends. Only permanent interest. We had an interest, and the interest was a southern president.
But you have said it.
God has now given us another southern president, not the one that we desired. I wanted Peter Obi as a southern president. But God now gave another southern president in the person of Bola Tinubu. Who am I to query God?
But as a case of hindsight that you mentioned, so it's a case of you were once blind, now you can see.
Not blind. Not blind. I didn't have all the information
at the time.
It's not blind.
So in the case that you were poor blind, you were not totally blind.
But
now you can see.
Sure, I was not blind.
Let's take a break, everyone. But when we return, our conversation continues. I'll allow Dr. Doyin Okupa to speak on the position of the Nigerian Governors Forum. Is it true that the state do not have the capacity to pay 60,000 naira and above? That is their stance. But if they are forced to do it, what will happen? That's next on our conversation. Join us again.
Before entering to the university, ask myself one question. What does education mean to me?
Education is a tool to shape my future, fostering critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
Philemon University City Campus, Maitama Abuja, is now open. Visit www.philemon.edu.ng to get started.
Your time. See how sweet they like beans and rice. And the people, I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever. Time to you, my people. Even if the road be rough, I know mine. 'Cause together we shall stand.
Make we all come out on election day and vote Olumide Osaigbavo Akpata, Una guy, as governor of Edo State. He ready to change our story and bring better life for we and our pikin them. Vote Labour Party, the party for Papa, Mama and pikin. Make we vote well, oh. Oludi, confirm. Now you be our guy. Labour Party, forward ever.
Olumide Akpata.
There's a lot of fear in the journey towards building wealth, especially in an ever-changing economy like ours. And you know why that is? It's because navigating the world of investments without facts and insights is like walking in the dark. But that fear stops now. Opportunities open up to you when you have a trusted guide. Someone with over 28 years of experience advising individuals, corporates, and governments to achieve their dreams through strategic and well-timed investments. That someone is AfriInvest. The journey of 1,000 miles is easier when you have a trusted guide and partner who knows the way. So, take the first step. AfriInvest, simplifying investments, creating wealth.
It is new, it is unique and of international standard. Maduka University. Maduka University, a modern university of international standard with modern facilities for learning, committed to training entrepreneurs across different fields of human endeavor, offers admission to students in different courses such as law, accounting, medical lab science,
cybersecurity, mechatronics,
mass communication, nursing, pharmacy, ICT, computer engineering, civil engineering, JUBE program, and a lot more. Maduka University is located in an environment of serenity, safety and security at Ekwebe Nsukka, Enugu State. For more inquiry, visit our website madukauniversity.edu.ng or call 0805-509-1802 or 0915-789-3107. Maduka University, the place for the transformation you seek.
Hello, my name is Linda Osifo, and I am excited to announce the biggest news to you. The Middle East Investors Expo is coming to Abuja, and yes, you are invited. An opportunity of a lifetime for entrepreneurs seeking funding for their projects and businesses. Middle East Investors Expo will be the most magical 2 days of your life. It's a real-life gathering of global assets managers, including private equity and venture capital organizations with over 2 trillion wealth to connect with local businesses, entrepreneurs, and small to medium enterprises. This exclusive event is built to facilitate a one-to-one meeting and meaningful interactions, fostering partnerships and investment opportunities. 50 speakers and investors gathering in Abuja. Get your tickets and exhibition space today.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Dr. Doyin Okupa, a former presidential advisor, is on that a few times. So he's with us on the program tonight. Thank you so much indeed, Dr. Okupa. The position of the Nigerian Governors Forum, they say they don't have what it takes. All the states cannot afford it. That 60,000 will literally cripple the economy of some states. Do you agree with the states, governors?
Number one, we keep doing something wrong in this country. Number one, the Nigerian Governors Forum is a misnomer. It should just be a collection of, a meeting of governors to just, go over mild things. Now, we should not, do or make laws that is all-encompassing, that, makes it compulsory for all governors in the Federation to obey them. They are sub-nationalities on their own. For instance, if you pay a minimum wage in Lagos, for instance, why should I pay that in Yobe? Or Sokoto? Do you understand? Let every governor decide, for his own state, by his own people, that this is what we can afford.
They are saying that the minimum, because the federal government, the president has said that minimum, it won't be less than 60,000, it will be 60,000 plus.
Yeah.
They say that if that figure is not even sustainable, and is in what I read earlier, where the governors are saying, look, that in fact is going to be disastrous if they are going by that figure.
So be it. What the president should concern himself about is the federal government. We should not impose anything on the states. Let the states and the labor unions at the state level go and have their own agreement. These are federating units, for God's sake. Because of too many years of military regime, we tend to have lost it. And that's why people are talking about local government autonomy. There's nothing like that.
Really?
Yeah, I can have local government autonomy. A federal system is based on it's a system of government based on an agreement between two units, a central government and the federating units. That's it.
That those who would disagree.
They can disagree.
There are three tiers. There are three tiers.
There's not like three tiers in the federal system.
The central, the federating, and the local.
The local, that is army.
The Constitution sees every local government by name.
The military wrote the Constitution.
But it's the Constitution.
It is written by military.
Is it not binding?
No, it is binding. I'm not saying it's not binding, but it is a misnomer. It is wrong.
But it is what it is. It's a law. Everything is the law.
Okay, but do not let us lose the point. The point is that you are making was that the state governor says that they cannot afford to pay.
Mm-hmm.
That is neither here nor there. Because, you see, thanks to the subsidy removal, all right, what the states were earning prior to this administration, some states are earning double, some are actually earning triple what they were earning before on a monthly basis. So I don't think, a majority of the states cannot afford 60,000. All right, I do not think so. But whatever it is, each state government should be allowed to decide.
Dr. Okupa, what we need to also educate our viewers tonight is that 60,000 is the barest minimum. And we're talking about
I accept
level 1, step 1.
I accept that.
Someone who is out of secondary school, SS3, with certificate or whatever, because even in the eye of the civil service, you cannot even go below that to get employed into the federal civil service. So if you are there, and really do you find these people in the civil service, there are just a handful of them in the civil service. So the consequential adjustment of a 60,000
that is the problem.
Is very critical.
That is the problem.
And that those who believe that, what about those in level 6, level 7, the consequential adjustment across board is really the issue.
I think, I've looked at it and I've done my calculations, okay? I think there's no state government, and the majority of the state governments have staff strength of between 30, 35, and 50, except for Lagos. I think Lagos is about 90 or 100.
There are nothing less than 10 to 15 states in Nigeria that are referred to civil servants as civil servant states.
Yeah, there are many.
Because productivity in the federating unit have been low, abysmal. Because a lot of the states, don't forget, there was a time that states were getting bailout. They literally could not exist if the federal government was not giving them. In fact, there were almost more than a third of the 36 states of the federation that have been declared insolvent.
I agree.
Because of the economic crunch. So a lot of the times, some of these states, after paying salaries, they have little or nothing.
That's why I'm saying that nobody should force any state government to adopt a minimum wage that it cannot afford to pay. But you see, it should be a matter that will be resolved between the state administration, their own assembly, and the local labor people. You pay, the rent you pay for one room in Bariga or in Shomolu or whatever is different from what you pay in Damaturu.
Mm-hmm.
So, this minimum wage cannot be across the board. It cannot be. And it's not an affair of the NGF. There's nothing like that.
That's why a lot of people even believe, at the time, that a lot of state government are even still owing the 30,000 naira.
They didn't even pay.
They've not been able to pay.
Yeah, about 15 states did not domicile it.
So it's commonsensical for the states to go and deal.
It's understandable. And I pray and and pleading that labor should not make it an issue, and that the federal government itself should not, overindulge or dwell too much on that. Let the federal government be concerned with what happens at the center, the federal government agencies, its MDAs, etc., etc. Let the states go and solve their problem. Let us for once live like a federation, You can have minimum wage at the federal level and minimum wage at the state level. It depends on the state. It cannot be general. That's my position.
I mean, you mentioned the issue of fuel subsidy and the implication, positive or negative. Well,
no, it is
for
positive,
some states,
because states are earning triple, double what they used to, what they used to earn before, and that's why I wonder when people say, "Where is the subsidy?" States that were earning, before in January 2022. I think the total money that was shared at the federal account was about 600 billion naira. But in this, after the subsidy, it went to 1.2 trillion. So where did the money come from? The money came from subsidy.
I mean, 2 days ago, Mr. Atiku Abubakar came out and said the government is very deceitful in his administration of fuel subsidy. That in fact, this government has been paying subsidy and is about to conclude a payment of 5.4 trillion naira in subsidy subsidy payment for the year 2024. And that those who believe that is this government really silently or quietly paying subsidies.
Sheung, you said something which is true. I have been in government. There are many things that government is something that is, that it is intriguing. It's not everything that government does that government can afford to come and say this is what we're doing. Do you understand? Let us look at it realistically. The landing cost of PMS is probably still the same, okay? But if it was $70 or something per liter or whatever it is, or $7 or $0.7, I don't know. Now, if at that time we were dollar to naira was 400 to 1, and you fix the price at a particular point, when the dollar price now goes to 1,450, you don't need to be a genius to know that the ground is no longer level. I think, I think the government haven't come out to say, I'm not in government, and I'm not speaking for this administration. I'm just like Ben Bruce used to say, I'm just using my common sense. I think what happened is this. The government said fuel subsidy is out, and they meant it. And fuel subsidy was out. But at the same time, the government took steps, to equalize or rationalize the exchange rate, which now made that naira to take a tailspin. So, if the price was 400 to 1 and it came to 1,000 to 1, the price of PMS is not going to be the same. So, government not coming to us to say, oh, the price has changed, therefore we must change the forex has changed, therefore we must change the price. People should sympathize with them. It's a matter of integrity. What I've seen here is there may be, I'm not saying authoritatively, there may be what they call strategic concealment. That's not lying. Strategic concealment.
But it's not totally been open.
Yes.
Transparency is the key.
No. It's not, look, Sheung, I have been in government for years. I've been close to presidents and administrations for years. It's not everything that you can actually do in an open manner. Okay, look, let me tell you an example. You receive an information, that some people. I've actually witnessed that. That in Yola or in Maduguri, the insurgents are going to attack and all that, and you have made a plan, to apprehend them. You don't make it a public issue. There are many things that government does that does not. Government, conceals them. It's not because they want to be dubious, but because maybe it is not profitable. Because at the end of the day, what has government done? Government has not committed sin. Government has only done something that, helps us. Because if government said, oh, the price of fuel we buy at 600, and the dollar now changes to 1,400, and then say we should now buy at 1,000, We are the one going to be shouting now.
But it's basic.
Concealment.
But Nigerians need to know, don't they?
At the appropriate time, Nigerians will have to know.
Under the Buhari government, you know what they said?
What?
They said there was a term that when they said they were going to remove subsidy, at the end of the day they said they were not paying subsidy, and they came and said, "Oh, it is under recovery or something," that they called it or something. And, there are a lot of things around this petrol. There is the Petroleum Equalization Fund, which allow those who are in the up north to get it almost at the same price. Government put that fund in such that they pay for the transportation and logistics to get a whole lot of things that are happening. And perhaps what the articles of this word are asking is, let us know what you are doing.
I believe, Atiku can say whatever he likes. Atiku is a leader of opposition, he's a politician, he still wants to run for president. So, he can
You think he still wants to run for president?
That's obvious now. Atiku said I will continue to run for president, as long as I'm alive. That's what he said.
Will it not be against that? The principle of the rotational, it seems that we've agreed to that. Ebola Tinubu from the southwest.
That has always been the issue. That was why, Peter Obi and myself moved out of PDP, because the PDP, as of that time, were hell-bent on, not respecting the wishes of the southern leadership.
What do you think will happen if Atiku Abubakar throws his hat in the ring in 2027 as against Bola Tinubu of the APC, who will want to seek a re-election?
It's going to be interesting. That's all I can say. Only God knows what will happen, but it's going to be interesting.
But will it be fair? After a Buhari 8 years?
It has never been fair. That's why we advocated and we worked for a southern president. I believe that there are men of good conscience in the north, that even if individuals in the north, it has always been like that. When Obasanjo became president, Abubakar Rimi was on the field and contested primary, even though majority. The thing, I have confidence in the north. The north has always been politically sovereign enough to stabilize the polity of this country. You will recall Abiola's time, when Abiola died and this, and the whole country was made to vote for only 2 candidates, and they were both Yoruba people, Southwest. That was a northern game, because they felt that there's need to protect, the unity of the country. The North, have a reservoir of leadership that always, at the point, at the correct time, always moves in to stabilize the politics. And I think it will happen. It will happen again.
We hope that
it will happen
the best
again.
in the interest of our nation will be done. Thank you so much indeed. Dr. Okupa, a former presidential advisor Thank you so much. It's good to see you in good health and bouncing back on your feet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's our show for tonight, everyone. It's Friday. I don't know what you have for your evening or for the rest of your weekend. But in everything, don't forget what Okupa said earlier. Eat healthy and stay alive, everyone. Bye-bye.
It saddens me that our wildlife and forests are disappearing, and that Nigeria has become a hub for wildlife trafficking. But together, we can change this story. We can lead our region with stronger laws that prosecute more offenders. Let's create a future where people and wildlife can thrive together. Please report wildlife crime and help make Nigeria a haven for wildlife. Because protecting nature protects us all.
Yaya dai? Ba a sanin numfashi na ɗauke da ƙwayoyin cututtuka, wanda ƙwayoyin cututtuka ke sanadin haka. Kada mu bari numfashi mai ɗauke da ƙwayan cututtuka ya yi tasiri. Yi amfani da Close-Up mai ɗauke da sinadarin zinc da ke kore ƙwayar cuta.